Area 4.
You gotta go grind.
Women do what you allow them to do, and vice versa with the women. A man gonna do what you allow him to do, and if you don't know your worth, you'll put up with that bullshit. But when you know your worth and you know you don't have to put up with it, you ain't gonna put up with it.
The girl was like, well, if I decide I want to wear a string bikini, to the beach and all that, I don't deserve to be harassed. And if you got a problem with that as my man, that's a problem. He was like, look, I'm not, you shouldn't be harassed. You're right. You shouldn't be harassed. However, they got creeps out there. Period. There are creeps out there. And so you have to be mindful. He's like, I'm not worried about my woman per se. She fine and she putting it out. Okay, cool. However, they gonna have somebody that's gonna disrespect that boundary. They gonna have somebody that's gonna do something to handle because they don't have the respect.
Right.
That's who I'm looking out for. That's who I'm afraid of you attracting, right?
Right.
And stuff. And so that's real talk. Like you're going to attract the creeps with that. A woman is tight because she's nervous. It's a muscle. So if I'm nervous and I'm not comfortable, then it's gonna be tight. That don't mean necessarily that it's just like that.
Preach my thunder, cause when you're loose and like that, you wanna know what we doing? We getting ready to orgasm. It's called bottoming out. We're letting that bottom drop so you can hit what we need you to hit, so we can get what we want. If you notice every time before the orgasm, it goes loose. Pay attention. Before her orgasm, not your orgasm is tight because she's working for you. Her orgasm is loose every time. She don't squeeze during the orgasm. She squeezes after the orgasm because she's trying to stop. It's a reflex after. And I'm sorry, y'all not moving, shaking. I got my phone in my hand. That's how I teach my classes. That's how it works.
There are some decent women out there that may have kids that are able to hold it down for themselves and still be able to accept a man into their lives in a man role. So
see, the thing is, when you just say you need a woman that's holding it down by herself, this is the problem right here. In the 21st century, a lot of women, they don't want to have no damn discipline. They don't want no man to come in and tell them what to do. They don't want to follow no rules. They want to sit there and say they want a strong man. As soon as that man show up and start trying to lay down structure and foundation, they flee. Oh, you trying to boss me around. You trying to tell me what to do. All this nonsense. You want me to be submissive. I ain't no slave.
No, Rick,
all this goofy shit.
You're narcissistic. That's the new word.
Yeah, that or toxic masculinity. All these other shaming tactics they got trying to use.
Whoa.
What it do?
Wow. No, what's happening with you?
Nothing, man. Trying to make it live like.
Oh no, you making it from what I heard.
No, that's what you heard. But I'm trying to tell you.
I hollered at Richard yesterday. You doing good out there?
Yeah, if Richard told you I'm doing good, then he's still lying.
Now, with another episode, here we go. 2024. Speak on It Podcast Season 2. I am the host, DJ Black, along with my co-host, the Austin. And we doing what it do, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's been a lot going on. We haven't really been touching up on the news, but the main person in the news really that's overshadowing everybody, and I tried to miss it last week, but they want to hear my opinion on it is Mr. Cat Williams, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to give my quick opinion on Cat Williams. And then we're gonna dive into the topic of the evening. Um, you know, he's genius. But next week we doing the hip hop, and so I'm gonna do my uh, tribute to hip hop. I'm gonna do that once a month, starting out once a month. Uh, well, we break down the origin of hip hop. You know, because like I say, it's what I represent, and we're gonna break that down next week, and then we're gonna do our physical. I mean, not physical, mental health segment. 2 Wednesdays in a row because we want to make sure that we kind of get a grip on this mental health thing in 2024. We need to let y'all know that it's okay to seek therapy. It's okay to realize, to wake up and say, hey, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And without talking to someone, a family member or a friend who can turn on you and tell your business when they get mad at you, why not go to a licensed therapist and lay on that couch and have your session, your private session. Anything you say to them is confidential, and if it get out there, that's a lawsuit, and we all need money, right? So I say, I'm in support of therapists now. So if you can't handle it on your own legitimately, go ahead and seek a therapist, because it's widely admired here on this podcast. I have about 2-3 therapists that come on here from time to time and speak their minds on what's going on and what they can help assist you with. So don't hesitate to do that. Now,
I'm glad you decided to come on over to therapy.
There you go. This boy been going to therapy shit 10, 20 years.
And hey, time you made that move. Good here.
Yeah, but my thing was, we used to talk our problems out, man.
Yeah.
I was your therapist and you were mine, and we did good getting out of them, dealing with their relationship.
Well, we different. We different.
Yeah, but when you marry and in a serious committed relationship, that's when you seek further than friends. You know what I'm saying? Further than family members. You have to, and you're trying to keep it together. Or, like you said, sometimes therapy is there to show you don't need each other. It ain't always to keep you together. So.
Exactly. All right,
and we're gonna go. I think we need to address that intelligently on one of our sessions on why seek therapy. Because I didn't believe in it, and I'm sure it's millions, thousands, I'm sure, that feel like I felt. I know what's wrong with me. She know what's wrong with her. We know what's wrong with each other. So why can't we just talk it out, and decide together or apart? But so why seek therapy? I think that need to be a good. I think that'll be a good topic. But
put on old Chanel on that. I'm quite sure she'll have fun with that.
Let her go in depth with that. We got a few relationship topics that we're gonna attack this year also. That's gonna be pretty good. We're gonna get a little in depth because season 1, I kind of scraped the surface a little bit. Season 2, the new year 2024, we finna dig into the surface. It ain't scratching it now, so we finna get deep. Some people may get upset, so but we getting ready to get deep with it. You know what I'm saying? Cheating is cheating. Unfaithful is unfaithful. love is love. Does love really exist? Are people in relationships for love, or is it strictly business these days? Is it, I mean, I want to know, and we're gonna dive into it, and I will have different guests coming on with their comments. So yeah, we're gonna try to do a little something different, dig a little deeper, get a little up close and personal in 2024. So
Yeah, just like if they would have dug a little bit deeper in Mississippi, finding them 241 bodies that was buried behind the
yeah,
jail.
I
But
saw that. I saw that.
man,
And my question with them finding them bodies was, do you think it was one person or a group of people that knew where to go because it was too many in one spot? So I think it was probably an organization. I don't believe one person was doing that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, it was more than one person. So it had to be a group of people that knew about it. So
Yeah.
you know,
And man, that was deep. Damn, I wish I had that clip, because I looked at it and I was like, wow, but I didn't think to put the clip. Do you let me see. I was gonna tell you to do the article, but
yeah, we
yeah,
can
that
talk
was deep.
about it another time. We can even have that as a topic. Why racism
Mhm.
still exists. Why?
We'll do that as the 15-minute segment before the hip hop show start, and I'll advertise it that we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna hit up on Andre 3000, then I'm gonna jump into the hip hop uh show. So um and all I have to say on the Cat Williams thing is it was ingenious. He's a genius. Literally a genius. He's not the average person. And looking at him, you would think he was kind of below the average Joe. He was just good at telling jokes. But this man is actually a brainiac. He's actually a genius. This guy has a super IQ. I mean, judging a book by its cover, you would really, really, really be wrong if you were judging Cat Williams. And so if you never knew, don't judge a book by its cover, Cat Williams is a perfect example of that. He has a great heart. But on the cool, him, the way he expressed himself and the things he said on the Shannon Sharpe platform, he came across as a hater per se. Even though he's speaking his mind, ones may see that as him attacking the mainstream comedians that are active and have done more and have made more than him in comedy, which is his profession. And it kind of seemed like he just threw darts at everybody who, had done something. And I like the way Ricky Smiley approached it. He chose not to throw stone for stone, whether it was he didn't want Cat to come out with more. That's yet to be proven. But he chose to say he dealing with a lot. January, of course, is when he lost his son last year. So he really was more on you need to kind of watch what people going through before you try to throw stones or ruffle their feathers, because you don't know who's going through. But he promoted Cat Williams shows. He showed his tour dates, and he told everybody to go. It was like he loved everybody. He said comedians, they love each other today, they hate each other tomorrow, just like anybody else. and he promoted the brother. He said, "Hey, go check out his show." They posted his show on the page, and he said he loved the brother, and he wasn't gonna go stone for stone because he said you don't know who's going through. So I commend him on that, and he kept saying, "No, it ain't that I'm running from the situation. It's just that stone for stone, he didn't feel like he needed to do that with the Cat Williams situation. So he did pretty good. I commend him on that, even though other comedians he attacked didn't feel the same way. They didn't care. But I just say he was a genius, and it's gonna help with his ticket sales. So it was a smart move. Like I say, he's genius. It was a smart move. But like I say, you can look at it as a hater, or he's speaking his mind, getting some things off his chest, or he was promoting. He did that to promote his tour to get people to come see him. Make sure he sell out. Just like when Chris Rock did that slap, he was already scheduled to come to Georgia. After that slap, he booked 2 more shows. He was supposed to be just here that Friday. A week or two after that slap, he had a Saturday show and a Sunday show. So go figure. So Cat dipped right in there, and now he's on tour. So everybody's gonna flock the arenas and the concert halls, and he's gonna do good. He's gonna make all the money he needs to make. But yeah, he's a brilliant young comedian. So but good publicity stunt, which Austin taught me that a lot of things we see, and since he said that, I've been observing, and a lot of things we see are publicity stunts. The average Joe will take it as see the incident for the incident, but it's just ironic he went on Shannon Sharpe right when his tour was kicking off to slander all the other comedians, and now his shows are like sold out. It's like you can't buy a ticket. So it's ingenious, it's ingenious. And so that's freedom of speech. And that man has the right to say whatever he want to say, and he has the right to feel how he want to feel. And to be honest, a lot of things he said, I went and researched. The damn video was 3 hours, but on some of them I went and reviewed a few things, and I didn't see no lies in nothing he told. And then
well, I mean, as you notice, no one came out and tried to get him for slander, So
I mean, he just spoke his truth, and everything he was saying, I went and researched. I fact checked quite a few of them, and it was true. So hats off to Cat Williams. Cardi B allegedly took all her money out the bank account and left Offset with little or nothing, because they say majority of the money that he flaunts in his status and his network was because he's married to her. So she's seriously talking about getting a divorce. She pulled out all of her money and left him with little to nothing in the bank. So that's another topic. But somebody brought that to my attention. They just say, you ain't saying that about Cardi B. Because, see, I had been doing news. I didn't do news for the New Year thing. And so they hit me up. You ain't saying nothing about Cardi B and Offset. You must ain't been checking the news. Like, I check the news and I see those things. And I try to pick 2 topics. I really try to do 3, but if I can pick 2 of them and elaborate on them, because I try to get to the top of the hour, and at the top of the hour, I want to, boom, drop the topic of the night. But Yeah, so so I was going to, they really want me to do this news thing. So I was like, I hadn't really done it in the last week or two, but I will come back with it before, when I do my hip hop next week, and I'll drop the flyers for the hip hop probably tomorrow. Because the reviews on the hip hop show, man, was off the chain. I'm talking about over 200 comments, and all of this is live. It wasn't they watch it the next day after work. The hip hop people, a lot of them ain't working. They at home. They working at the nightclub. So the views were live and they were commenting and coming on. They had the YouTube going wild. So I say, we're gonna come back and do that once a month. And they want to get at me though, and I'm gonna address this on the hip hop. I said the thing about Rakim. They call him God MC. Okay. And so I just stated that he put a dent, you know what I'm saying? He made a difference in the game. But calling him God MC like he was the best MC of that era, I kind of beg to differ. He was different. He came dropping knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Letting knowledge be born. I understand that. 5%er. And, I joined the 5% Nation when I went to Jackson State. And, I respect Rakim. But it was so many other lyricists that was out there. It's just that Rakim lyrics and he went mainstream. And then, so they're going to be coming at me with different things. So, and, we used to listen. I used to have you listening, Austin, to those New York tapes, and we was listening to all the underground Audio 2 stuff. You was on to the Jungle Brothers, you used to hear all that Red Alert, so we used to actually check them rappers out. Super Lover C, Casanova. We used to listen to all that stuff. Steady B. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back.
Yep.
And then if you're here, because I want you to at least stay, because I know you're not that deeply rooted, connected. You're rooted to hip hop, but you're not as connected. You like more R&B. But we're gonna get into the R&B as those months go on. Every third Wednesday, we're gonna evolve from hip hop. I'm gonna touch on the original R&B all the way back from Babyface to Jodeci. We're gonna dig into that. That's gonna be the third Wednesdays is gonna be music. I'm gonna show my contribution to music, because a lot of people like D Black, we know you from DJing, we know you from music. So, even though I've had countless unspeakable relationships, we know you from music. So I said, okay, I owe them that. So we're gonna do music every third Wednesday of the month. So it'll be the next to the last Wednesday of the month. This month just happened to have 5 Wednesdays. So I'm gonna do my third, which is next Wednesday, and then I'm gonna let Charnel take over with the mental health segment the last 2 Wednesdays. And then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna have an exciting show. Austin and I are gonna put our heads together, and that first Wednesday of February we're gonna hit you, because that's the love month. So we want to know, does love exist in relationships anymore? That's what we want to know. And so I'm just letting you know, being that it's love week, the love month, that's going to get addressed either the second Wednesday, if not the first Wednesday of the month. So, but with all of that being said, the topic of the night, we're about to hit the top of the hour. We got 2 minutes to the top of the hour. But last week, we kind of got, I guess we can call it attack, so to speak. We were talking about something totally different. I don't even remember what the topic was. We were talking about something totally different. And this lady came in, what were we talking about for the new year? Letting go toxic relationships. We were talking about toxic relationships. And a viewer on YouTube wanted to talk about gender wars. why men are trying to down women who are educated and making their own money. Why is it a problem with men? Then she went all the way back to it's been since slavery, and then slavery isn't what we think slavery is. I was like, whoa, okay. And then people like, you need to keep her on. Anything that brings controversy, you know what I'm saying? You need to keep her on the show. You need to keep her on. But so I said, okay, is there really a gender war? I mean, like I say, season 1, we scraped the surface. You know what I'm saying? We didn't carve in it. We didn't dig in it. We just kind of scraped. We touched on the gender wars. And like I say, I got mixed feelings on it, and I'm going to express them tonight. And I'm sure Austin going to come and knock it out of the park. But top of the hour, gender wars. Are black men and women really at war with one another? Or is this just an illusion? Or is it just their voice and their opinions and people want to make it a war? So that's what we'll be touching up on tonight. And then I got so much, and I hate I didn't put notes, because when I'm going through my regular days, I get so many ideas and so many things pop in my head to say on these podcasts. And then when the lights are on, I'm like, what was I gonna say? But yeah. So on that note, I don't really believe it's a gender war per se. I don't think it's a gender war.
No, we're taking the same stance on that. I don't think it's a gender war either. I think that anytime something is put out there, they try to make it bigger than what it is, especially in the black community, because that continues to be a divisive measure. And it's not saying white people or any specific race, other than black people, we're divisive amongst ourselves, and so we try to continue to perpetuate the things that are negative within our own community. So we create those stigmas, and then we put it out there, and people run with it, and it becomes a part of our everyday conversation, and then eventually part of our lives. We start to think and feel the way that some person has felt about their relationship, and which in turn causes damage to us in the long run.
Well, the way I see it, to piggyback off what you were saying, I don't need a man. Okay? That's, I think, is what triggered men initially when they hear that woman say, I don't need a man. Okay? And like you say so many times, and other people say on here, women weren't allowed the opportunities that they are allowed today. They weren't allowed those opportunities 20, 30, 40 years ago. And they're making more money now. They're holding positions down that men used to be predominantly, holding down. They're still predominantly holding down, but women are in those positions now as well. So it's not a one-sided world anymore. And not to mention welfare, not to mention the criminal system. Let's not forget homosexuality. Let's not forget, and I'm saying all this because the black man actually got removed from the home, which is why women feel like they don't need it. It's kind of like you on a training wheel. You using training wheels on that bike. once you learn, and we remove them training wheels, you able to go 10 feet without training wheels. Are you able to go a third of a mile without training wheels? What do you need training wheels for? They were cool, but you don't need them, And you and I established on season 1 that we prefer a woman who wants us over a woman who needs us. Because if you got a woman that needs you, something happened to you hurt your back, you lose your job, something happened to you and you can't provide that need, she's going to seek that need in someone else. Compared to a woman who can independently take care of herself and just want you there. And like you mentioned a while ago in the other host that was on here, my other co-host, emotional support. You go around her for emotional support and see what happens. No, that means she is independent enough to provide for herself, and she just needs you for the smaller things, the emotional things, not just necessarily financial. You know what I'm saying? But he approached it as if you can't bring more than she's bringing to the table, you're useless. But that independent woman who chooses you because she wants to be with you, see that situation totally different. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. I think when that song, I can do bad by myself, I don't need no help to starve to death, I think that came from a woman who was either unemployed or on welfare, that was in a relationship and the man wasn't able to provide what she needed. That's what I get out of that song. I can do bad by myself. I don't need no help to start it up. And the reason I say she had to either be on welfare, unemployed, because she said she don't need no help to starve to death. So that means she's starving to death. So she don't need no help to continue to starve. So she was seeking a man to help her elevate or, contribute something that what she's struggling with. So as we mentioned on the previous podcast, when that lady came on talking about men hating on women, blah, blah. Bad by myself, don't need no help to start a death. That was the beginning. I feel like that was the beginning of a so-called, I'm not going to say gender war, but it was a detachment from the black man per se.
So when we look at starve to death,
mm-hmm.
we don't necessarily have to be talking about food or physical starvation. We could also be talking about emotional starvation, because if you are emotionally starved, then what happens to your mental and eventually physical? Sometimes you look deeper into those words. You have to look deeper into the words that people say. But
her whole song was about.
That's just me trying to be
deep.
Yeah.
Her whole song, though, when you listen to the lyrics, her whole song was about him helping out. She having to do everything herself, and she's like, "What I need you for?" And then,
and I want somebody.
and like I say, like that song, She's Got Papers on Me. That was a funny song. Go back now that we're mature, and listen to that song. She's Got Papers on Me.
I used to listen to Richard Depperfield all the time. I used to play that song. In fact, I turned my wife on to it, and I was telling her, I said, "Babe, listen to this. This is what I was listening to when I was like 10 years old."
Dude, that was songs really our moms them listened to, and we just happened to hear it because we really weren't old enough at that time to even know what he's talking about. But we loved the song, and then when I listened to the lyrics, dude. And then I listened to what he was saying, then I heard her. But when he said, because I didn't know what was going on in this song when I was little. I did not know what the hell he was singing about. I just knew She's Got Papers on Me. I kind of knew they were married. But when he went, what got me was when he said she's the sweet little thing that's always on his mind. And he went off on that part. And then she walked in there and chewed him out and threw him out. The little raggedy component said that never worked. She went off on it. So if y'all want to hear a good song that's bashing, so to speak, check out, it's Richard Dimples Field, and he was known for his dimples. And the song is called "She's Got Papers on Me." Y'all need to check that out. And I'm gonna start playing music too on these podcasts. Starting my next one on, you guys gonna hear some type of music relating to, because I always give titles of songs, but I never play them. So I'm gonna start playing the little clips of the songs that I'm talking about and telling y'all who the artists are and who to go check it out. But Richard Field, "She's Got Papers on Me." I want to say that was Betty Wright on the song that came in there and had the little narrative part where she talked.
You
I'm
got to
thinking that was
pay
Betty
me.
Wright,
You got to pay me to
but
be free. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, that's a deep song. And for a lot of people who's going through divorce or are going through different things, this is a cool song to listen to, because he wanted out of the relationship, but he couldn't because he was married to her, and it was cheaper to keep her because she was going to take him for everything. And from the sounds of the song, he really didn't have much because she threw him out and told him to get his little component set that never worked. She bought the car, she paid a house, no, she put him through school. So he really didn't have that. He was more like, dependent on her. And so that song is so deep. So when you get a break, "She's Got Papers on Me" by Richard Dimples Fields. So check that song out. It was deep. But so it was peaks of the so-called gender war, or the disconnect of black man and woman way back then. And I think that song had to come out in the late 70s, if not early 80s. But it was a peak of it then. I think the women start seeing, once they start working, once they start being educated, and men stayed, the women were elevating, men stayed kind of consistent on a level. The men who were making money made the money. The men who wasn't, the mechanics, the plumbers, and all them still was steady. And women were constantly elevating. So then, like I say, the jail system took them. They gave welfare for the women who weren't working, and if it wasn't welfare, if it wasn't the welfare, the men were going to jail, killing each other, and then now we got bisexual, then we got gays, now we got transgender. So with all of that going on, the purpose of that was removing the black man, the black male, from the households. Okay.
Well,
So with him
it's
not being in the household, she's getting the welfare, or she's out there in the workforce, forced to take care of herself, and if she have children, to take care of the children alone, whether he's in jail, whether he's dead, whether he's bisexual, whether he's gay, whatever. The black male was removed from the home, and black woman was forced to provide for the children, for herself, for the children.
you're missing one other thing that removed the black male from the home. That's white women, because after white it was a run on black men and
White
white
women?
women. Yeah, white women. At one point, black men, they just had to have them a white woman, no matter what their social economical status was. White women was the way to go, and so that pulled a lot of black men out of the
Damn,
household
I
too.
sure missed that. I mean, I know Rick James, I know, I mean, you hitting it. I just didn't think of that as a major absence of the black man. So
Well,
you
again,
added
if
that.
you go back and look at the look at a lot of the athletes at a period of time, and probably even today, they are a number of them are marrying other than black. So, you have some out there that are still committed to their black women, but then you have a number of them that aren't. Let's look at, just look at Undoku and and what's her name?
Who?
Gosh, what was her name? Nia Long.
Okay.
So he went and messed up. And Nia Long, I always had a crush on Nia Long. She was one of my celebrity crushes, if you will. So he went and messed with, one of them and left her out there. You know what I'm saying?
Nia Long. So that means I can't say what I want to say, but I have a cousin that kind of favored Nia Long, and that means you probably would have, I didn't know that you had a crush on Nia Long.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, I got, it's a cousin that I have that favors Nia Long.
Well, I'm married now, so it don't even matter.
Right.
Depending on which side of the family.
Oh no. Yeah, she was on the other side. But yeah, you knew her well. But yeah, I just thought about that. I didn't know, and I think you all passed words before, and you did, y'all passed words and y'all had conversation, but I don't think y'all ever went to the next level with it.
No,
but
if it was anything close to family, I'm good on that.
But yeah, who we have that's joined? Who is that? Sparkle.
I see we got Miss Sparkle in the house.
The spark.
Yeah.
You ready to light a spark up under y'all? Yeah.
Yeah, cause that you had a couple of comments last week that touched my synapses. It was popping in my brain. They were going off. I was like, So
y'all need to bring Sparkle back on there. Anything with controversy, bring Sparkle back on there. So how you doing, Miss Sparkle?
So that was one of the things.
And I don't think she's echoing this week, Austin. Yeah, you were echoing last week, and when he echoed, he put his earbuds in. So, but last week you were echoing quite a bit, so I missed a lot. Okay, we got you back on the panel, so now we were tiptoeing on the subject, and now you're here. All righty. So as you see, you motivated the topic of the night. Are we really at war with one another? And me personally, and now that you're here, I think that what started it, besides what we were just saying, the black male not being in the home, then you took it back to slavery. I think the new war that really made it so-called a war, if we want to call it a war, I think it's more of a disagreement or a taking what someone said out of context, because the black woman, though being independent, though being educated, though making more money in certain fields, I feel when the woman said, now when the educated woman says this, not the ghetto woman who's getting the welfare, when the educated working woman says, I don't need a man, I think it was taken out of context to the traditional male who was taught all his life that your purpose is to provide and protect family, the wife, the children. So when that woman started being able to do that and she say, I don't need a man, a lot of those traditional men felt some type of way. And that's where the bashing kind of came, per se. But I think it was taken out of context, because I prefer a woman who wants me than a woman who needs me.
And let me
And
pick
Austin,
yeah.
Austin feels the same way. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me piggyback off of what you said. So, and I do believe that it was taken out of context also, because at a certain point, if you can financially provide for yourself, then no, you don't need a man for that particular thing. So again, those traditional ways were upset when women were able to start taking care of themselves financially and buy a dog or a gun for protection, right? So then it left the traditional black man at a loss for where he was or where he stood.
Where's my place?
And he didn't understand that just because a woman doesn't need you financially or for protection, there are other needs that you can fulfill in their lives.
So yeah, that's where I think the so-called war come in at. And the younger generation, Sparkle, which I noticed last week you wasn't 100% in touch with the 30s and under. But when the 30s and unders say they don't need a man, they literally mean I don't need a man, because they can get their coochie licked. They get paid by the welfare. When they say it, they actually mean it. And the men are more, they're not men that's 40 plus when you go down to 30 and under. The guys are softer. They don't have that, a lot of them, they don't have that will. They don't have that get up and go. They don't have that leadership. They kind of find a female, move in with her, and she's on welfare. Move in with her, play video games, eat up her kids' food from her stamps. And so they literally feel like they don't need a man. So the 30s and unders really feel like a man for what? I'm up here doing doubles at churches, or Popeyes, or Walmart to make ends meet. And this guy just comes over, he fire up a blunt, he's playing PS5 and begging me to buy the latest Madden and the newest Jordans. So the 30 and up is a whole different fucked up conversation altogether. So when you were speaking more on the 35, well, really the 40s and up. And you got kind of deep. So the 40s and up, it got I think the phrase "I don't need a man" got taken out of context, because you don't need a man just like our grandma, and maybe mom, but like our grandma did, because granddad went out there and he brought the bacon home, and mom and grandma cooked it. Okay.
Because she had to.
She had to. And nowadays, you guys going out there, getting that bacon, bringing it home, cooking it, and feeding the family. You were kind of forced into that because men were getting incarcerated, men dying by the hands of other men. Men, go ahead, Spark.
I would have to disagree, because I'm gonna approach this from two different angles.
Okay.
One, our children go through 12 years of school. Mm-hmm. School does not prepare you to get married and let somebody else have control of your life. School prepares you to be susceptible in society. Okay? So you got boys and girls going to school for 12 years. When they graduate, some of them seek higher education and they go on to college. So right there, they're being prepared to function in society. And that's kind of like the way we grew up as far as approaching education. And that's why I was so shocked when you said that these girls are saying that they don't need a man, because we didn't go to school not to need a man. I don't think any of us went to school with the intentions of not needing a man or to destroy the black family. We went to school because we wanted to be susceptible in society. I'm probably not saying that right, but we wanted to be accepted in society. And then not only that, a lot of us who knew like I did, I knew my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother died when I was 19 years old. So I have a whole history with her. And I think at one point, like my grandmother and my aunts and, uncles, I think they kind of got tired of her talking about, the olden days all the time. So what my grandmother would do is she would tell us. And she used to tell us how things were when they first came to America. And like I said, a lot of that is in my book as well. I believe I dedicated my book to my grandmother because of all the stories that she shared with me. And if she wouldn't have shared a lot of those stories, I wouldn't have been able to put two and two together the way that I did when I wrote my book. And so because she shared a lot of those stories with us, and we knew that our ancestors had to fight to be educated and had to fight for jobs and had to fight for housing. Because we knew that, we felt like we were walking in the footsteps or the path that they paved for us. And so it was for lack of a better, expression, it was really, kind of heartbreaking to hear that, now, these women are saying to themselves, well, I'm doing this because I don't need a man. When we did it because we knew our ancestors had paved that way for us.
Well, Miss Sparkle, that's great and it sounds good, but these days, don't nobody care anymore. They don't care.
Well, like I said, that goes back a lot to, like I just said, my grandmother. I think at some point, my mother and dad and grandmother, all of them got so tired of her talking about the olden days that she started pouring that information into us children.
Yeah, and that's understandable. And
so
our grandparents did the same with Black and I. But today, the new generation, they are so far removed from that. They are so far removed from what racism meant. They're so far removed from what even identifying what apartheid was in Africa. They're so far removed from Jim Crow laws. They're so far removed from what our ancestors fought for, what they fought for to allow us to be in the situations that we are now, that they just don't care. For Martin Luther King Day, they just look at it as another day to be
off. I got a 3-day weekend. I ain't got to go to work.
They don't even know what it's for.
The value, what it really means. So hold on, let me play this video. Hold up.
I'm about to tell you why Black women don't need a man. As a relationship coach who works with Black and brown women, I hear so many of my clients consistently say to me, I don't need no man. When ultimately they absolutely want one, but they just cannot wrap themselves around the idea that they could possibly need one. The reason why they don't need a man is fear. Fear that needing a man will minimize their accomplishments. Fear that needing a man will minimize their strength. Fear that needing a man will put them in danger and put them at risk to be neglected, abused, or abandoned like they have been in the past. Realizing that you do need a man as a woman, realizing that men and women are interdependent and we need each other, is the exact thing that will lead to the safety and security that you crave in the most amazing relationship of your life.
So yes, Sparkle, there are women out there that's screaming, especially, like I say, the 30s and under, 35s and under. I don't need a man. And the reason a lot of them say that is because they can't find a man. They're saying it out of hurt. But the Black man hears this, and that's what makes him want to retaliate. Then that makes that Black male look at that female. Okay, you don't need a man, so why should I take you? A single mother, 3 kids that's not his, probably 2, 3 baby daddies, and then you taking this woman on to provide for her and her children. That's not yours. So when they started saying that, the black male started looking different. He was like, "Bing, light bulb goes off. Okay, she don't need a man, but why do I need her?
But
If
the woman that you just described, they aren't the ones that's really claiming that they don't need a man. The women that are claiming that they don't need a man are women that are truly self-sufficient and
right,
what they have.
it's women that's self-sufficient though that still have 2 and 3 children by 2 or 3 different baby dads.
But what those women are screaming is, I don't need a father for my children. That's their cry.
They're saying that too. But if they're taking care of that child or those children by themselves, they feel like they really don't need a man because they're successful. They're making the money. So why do I need a man? So they made these children and they're like, you don't have to be in my life. I don't need you. And so that's on both.
This is what confuses me about those statements, because like I said, I don't have a lot of statistics. I'm not a debater. I don't have a lot of statistics. But what I do have is what's right in front of my face. Okay. And yes, I will agree that a lot of our young women are not being groomed properly. Yes, I will agree to that. Yes, I will agree that, in my opinion, mothers and fathers both are to blame for that. This younger generation, I think they kind of got away from us a little bit, as far as, with the drugs and things like that, the different, well, I always say all these gangs and things, all this gangs and colors, all that stuff started back in the 80s. And it kind of just swept the country. And, our younger generation just kind of got away from us. And then it's like we were in a foot race trying to catch up to really try to, figure out what was going on, around us. And I can't even really say that we still have figured out what's going on around us, because here we are, this is 2024, and we're even more divided now than we were, 50 years ago. So I kind of understand what you're saying as far as, these girls having babies out of wedlock and everything. But once again, it's not just the females that are responsible for that. It's the whole community that is responsible for that, because it seems like no one is talking. And that's the main thing that happens when no one is talking. Everybody's just sitting back expecting somebody else to come up with the answer, or expecting somebody else to know what's going on. But at the end of the day, no one is really talking. And so that's a generation that, it kind of got away from us. I mean, you have a lot of mothers that buried a lot of sons unnecessarily, and we're still trying to figure out, how this all came about. But the most that I can remember is that it started back in the 80s, when they came out with the colors. Either if you was red, if you like red, you was with a certain group. If you like blue, you was with another certain group. And then it kind of just took off and, went from there. But it does seem like the guys kind of got the brunt of it, because, like I said, mothers buried a lot of sons. The jail population increased, while it seems like the girls, they kind of, even though they may have been having children, they still kind of gravitated towards bettering themselves and bettering their lives. So to just say, oh, well, she's a woman and she got 2 or 3 kids, as if, this is something that she did all by herself. You know, that's a false pretense, because we already know historically black women choose black men. Now, there are some exceptions. We know that. There are some exceptions, okay? There are some black women that are married to white men. There are some exceptions. But for the most part, black women choose black men. So we're not having... Yeah, we're not having these babies with aliens. Okay, I'm trying to figure out who these guys are. You know, like I think there was this one guy that I had to just completely stop watching him. There's a couple of them. The older man, the angry man.
She talking about Kevin Samuels, but he wasn't.
Kevin Samuels. Yeah. You know, the skinny man with the kitten heels. I mean, I don't know. They come up with all kind of names for him. You know, but some of these podcasts, I just have to stop watching because they were just toxic. But I think they're very toxic, and I think the biggest problem that I can see with a lot of these podcasts that I was watching is that a lot of our young people are very, now I know the sister over there is probably going to, you know, she might have some different opinions, but they're very unchurched. I hate to say it, but they're very unchurched. You know, they don't have a religious backbone. And so when guys come, and I feel like a lot of these podcasts, you know, the women that are on these podcasts, some of the guys are trying to hold them responsible for something that they're not responsible for. I agree. So that's why it makes them look so stupid, because they haven't been on this earth long enough to know what a lot of these guys are talking about. And I think, oh my goodness, I think it was Anton Daniel had, because I had to quit watching him, and he had a girl, he had a podcast one night, and they asked, and this one guy, I can't think of his name, he's on the podcast, he asked this young lady what she brought to the table.
I remember that. I know something.
Oh my goodness.
I think we played that one before.
And she could not answer the question. And I'm sitting here screaming. I'm like, oh my God, she really doesn't know.
Yeah, Mr. Something. I can't think of his name. I know what you're talking about.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't think. He's got a little nickname or something they call him.
Mr. Something. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he asked her, what do you bring to the table? And I said, oh my goodness, she really could not answer that question. And so that's why I say a lot of our children, a lot of our young girls, they don't have that biblical backbone. You know, and in some regards, some of our guys don't as well. Our children, they're lacking that biblical backbone that we grew up with. So, and see, we kind of knew the difference between right and wrong because we grew up with it. Whereas this generation, I don't know. I mean, when I have to look at how I raised my children, I think my focus was more on, you know, preparing them to function in society than it was on religion.
And Ms. Sparkle, I don't mean to cut you off, but when that question was presented, what do you bring to the table? And you related that to biblical and being able to bring that out from a biblical standpoint. What do you mean by that?
Well, I really don't want to get into the Bible because I'm not a preacher or nothing like that. But it seems like if we just start with the book of Genesis, okay, and in a lot of these podcasts, like I was just watching this one podcast with Pastor Dow. Now I'm not sure if he has more than one wife. Have you guys ever heard of Pastor Dow?
No, I don't know. I can't say if I've heard of him.
Because he's on YouTube too, and I think he has more than one wife. But you know, a lot of these guys, you know, give the impression that you know, that Eve, not Eve, but Adam was, if we just go back to the book of Genesis, that Adam was tricked into eating this apple. Okay. And so because the woman tricked him into eating this apple, you know, that just makes us wicked and, you know, all this here stuff.
He does have the periods.
Well, hold on, I'm getting to that. Okay, wait a minute. I'm getting to that because first off, Adam was right there during this whole conversation. Okay. Mm-hmm. The Bible says that she handed the apple to Adam, who was with her. So he was right there. To cut things short, there's no scriptures in the Bible where God actually speaks to Eve and tell Eve personally not to eat from that tree. The only one he told that to was Adam. Okay, he only told. And so Adam was there during this whole process. He never did anything to stop it. Okay, he never did anything to stop the serpent from talking to his wife or persuading her. He was sitting right there. He never did anything. Okay, but when he got caught,
he didn't know about the serpent. He found that out later.
Oh, that's right. We don't find out that we didn't find out the serpent was the devil until Revelations. But anyway, the fellow whoever was talking to his wife, okay, he was there during the whole conversation. He never did anything to stop it. And but when, you know, when God found out, you know, now at that point he could have just said, you know, yes, I ate from the tree. I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. I know you told me not to do it. But that's not what he said. Okay. He said, that woman you gave me. So he blamed it on the woman. And so I said all that to say, okay, the good thing about God is he punished all three of them. Don't forget, he punished all three of them. The serpent had to go to his belly. He had to crawl on his belly. He could no longer walk. Yes, the woman has birth, okay, pain during childbearing. But because of Adam's sin and because Adam went along with it, okay, that's the reason why mankind has to die. Okay. Before that, there was no expiration date on men. You could live to be 100, 800, 700, 1,000. Okay. So because of that, men have to die. So I'll make a very quick point. Even though women do have childbirth, everybody is happy to see a baby come into the world. Okay. But nobody,
especially the child support office.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, everybody's happy to see a baby come into the world, okay? But everybody fears death. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to look at that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
and if it wasn't for her, doing that, would none of this be going on? Also, that's one way to look at it.
How can you say just her? All three of them were there. Everybody was there. And God never told Eve not to eat the apple. He only told that to Adam.
Well,
it's Bible.
Like we said, we're not going to get into the biblical discussion of it.
Right, and that's why
none of it be going on. That's why
how can you say just her? All three of them were there. Everybody was there. And God never told Eve not to eat the apple. He only told that to Adam.
Well,
it's Bible.
Like we said, we're not going to get into the biblical discussion of it.
Right. That's why
none of it be going
on. How can you say just her? All three of them were there. Everybody was there. And God never told Eve not to eat the apple.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have to drop that or cut that or something.
Well,
but like I said, I'm not a preacher
to the black men and black women.
I'm not a preacher or that like that, but I just wanted to make that point because it just seems like a lot of women are being, you know, coerced into believing that, you know, this was something sneaky that was going on or, you know, manipulative, and it wasn't because Adam was right there with her.
But
He was there with her.
But what I'm still
So
trying to
anyway,
identify.
my point is when he asked her that question, okay, I would have said, I'm bringing life to the table, okay, because once they got kicked out the garden, okay, and God, kind of put Adam in charge of the family, and the main reason why God, a lot of us see Adam and Eve as being the mother and father of creation, but you have to understand, to God, they were his children, and Adam was the oldest, and so that's why he got more responsibility. And it's just like in families today. My daughter still complains because she had more responsibility than her younger brothers and sisters. So Adam was given a lot more responsibility because he was the oldest.
Was it because he was the oldest, or was it because he was the lead of the family?
He was the oldest. These are God's children. We see them as the mother and father of creation, but to God, they were his children, and Adam was the oldest.
Okay, so if we put it in that sense, then it was an incestual relationship.
I'm not. Why? How could incest get into this? We're talking about.
Well,
God created them.
Right.
Okay, so God created them. They were, like I said, Adam was the oldest. He was given more responsibility. Okay, so because Adam was given that responsibility, all right, and leading the home, and to bring that back down to today's world, okay, in order for a man to be in charge of the home, the first thing he has to do is find a wife. Okay, once he finds a girl, then he's got to get the girl to marry him. Okay, so in other words, the man needs the woman to fulfill his purpose. And so that's why I would say,
if a man never finds a woman, he can never fulfill his purpose. Is his only purpose to procreate, or like what's the logic there?
Well, that's strange for a woman to be saying that, because most of the time that's how men make us feel, like our only purpose is to procreate.
Because, and this is the problem I have with religiosity. Because
now
that puts a man.
I knew there was going to be pushback.
I'm not pushing back.
One at a time, ladies. One at a time.
I'm just making a comment. Under that logic, every man on this earth who has not found a wife now feels rejected by God. Now he feel like shit. He feel like he's nothing because his purpose is just in getting married and making babies. Or what happens when this man physically cannot make babies, right? Because women have had that too, where women feel like, well, if our value is placed in only our womb and nothing else, then if I'm barren, then I ain't shit. That's the problem I have with that concept, because some people can't have kids. And where does that leave them in God's kingdom if that's their purpose? Is just that. There's more than one purpose here. It's more than one.
Dear, I'm only talking about one subject. Okay, I'm only talking about you're kind of going off into something else. I'm talking about one subject. He asked me, how would I answer that question? And I just gave you the background for how I would answer that question. Okay, I would have said, I'm bringing life to the table, and because the man cannot fulfill his purpose without the woman, because that's how God designed it.
What is his purpose?
Okay, his purpose is to lead the home. Well, if you don't have a home to lead,
So a lot of couples these days are elected not to have kids.
Right.
So where does that leave them as a couple?
Right.
And
with regard to purpose.
With regards to their purpose.
Well, that boils down to their choice. Okay. If they choose,
so as long as it's not about the kids, it's about just having a wife.
Did they choose not to have children, or did they just,
either or
was it biological that they couldn't have children?
No, they're choosing not to.
They're choosing not to.
Well, that's their choice.
Okay, so now bring that back to the original question of what do they bring to what does a woman bring to the table? If they're so
She's
if they're choosing or electing not to have
Not to have
kids,
children.
then what would she bring to the table at that point if life is not something that they are choosing to bring?
she still brings purpose, because with her he is now able to fulfill his purpose. So she still brings purpose.
Okay, so she's
So
only
are
the
you
purpose to
saying,
him.
yeah, are you saying his purpose is to provide for her? What are you saying his purpose is?
Well, now that right there is the main reason why I got back on the podcast, because it just seems like men and women have been raised with two different purposes, and this we're trying to bring these two purposes together, and they're not matching,
What do you
and
feel
so
like?
that's
What
why,
do you feel like
and
the
that's
purpose
why.
I was trying to just understand your concept of what you feel like the purpose of each gender is. What is man's purpose and what is woman's purpose?
Well, as I stated from the very beginning of this conversation, we go through 12 years of school. When you graduate from school, oftentimes people pursue higher education. You don't pay $50,000 for higher education for someone to take over your life and boss you around and tell you what to do. You're going to school to be susceptible in society, okay, to find your profession, okay, and work hard, improve society, improve community, improve whatever it is that you're doing.
So is that the
So
purpose?
basically,
Okay.
you're saying the
What
education.
I'm saying is, I think black men and women are looking at education from two different angles, okay? Most people pursue higher education, as I said, to, be susceptible in society. How we went from I'm, going to school to better myself and be a better person and improve my income, to all of a sudden I don't need a man and I'm supposedly trying to destroy the black family. I'm not making a connection.
Within that, where does the woman have time to learn how to be a wife?
Well, I don't know that I agree that shouldn't be her choice. Okay, if it's her choice, if she wants to become a wife and a mother, that should be her choice.
But other cultures, not only are they well educated, but they also know how to be a wife. Also know how they're trained to be submissive. One moment, let me play this, and then let's see where we come in.
What do you think on feminism?
I don't support feminism.
Why not?
Because I think for a woman it's very important to be with a man. First of all, human is human. And second, I was born and raised in a country where women love men. And we respect them and we want to make their life happier, easier. And we love that, we love this feeling to make our men happy. And here's a big difference between European or Muslim. I'm totally fine with that cultures, but I don't know.
Why do you think the women here are so brainwashed and they don't think like that anymore?
American ones?
Yeah.
I think because they're too strong. And to be honest, I really think that American guys are kind of scared of them. I don't know why, because they're too much independent. I can open a door, I can do this, and I'm like, okay, baby, you can,
I like them.
They have education, but yet they believe in the unity of the family. They believe in love and respect for the men that's in their lives. So you're swaying with education, independence, but you're eliminating the black male. From what I'm getting out of it. I may be wrong.
I'm not quite sure how you can eliminate the black male if in your mind the black male is supposed to be doing the same thing. So if you're going to school and he's going to school and you're both trying to improve your, yourself, okay? Like I always tell my son, the best place to meet a wife is at school. If she's in school, that right there should tell you, okay, Lord, that she's working toward a better life.
Lord, I thought you was finna say church.
I did too.
Well,
we really would have had a conversation then.
Well,
because you knew some of the church girls that I used to be around.
Thank you.
Shoot, if you know some of the preachers that I know that are following others, never mind.
I hear people say that. I mean, I grew up Baptist, and I understand what you're saying because I
did my first kiss in church. I think my first kiss came from a church girl.
But
whether you're in church or whether you're at school or whether you're in the military or whatever the case may be, you're human.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, I don't know that I would agree going to church is going to stop people from being affectionate or having some type of affection for each other. I mean, I don't know that I would agree to that.
But does going to church keep you from doing the right thing, or knowing good from bad or godly from evil? So
I mean, what does the Bible say? Train a child in the way he should go, and when he gets older, he won't stray from it.
Is that the only way to learn it is to go to church, though?
But no, I'm not saying that. There's many avenues to learning.
Right.
I mean, I think we're gonna. Hopefully, we'll get to do a segment on church versus non-church.
I'm not going to join that one. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to join that one.
Hey, we would love you to join that.
I mean, we would need you on there to
advocate for the church
on the advantages of going to church, the pros to being in church, because a lot of people have failed and strayed away from the church.
And
you know what?
It's not what it used to be.
I thought about that after I got off the last podcast, and I wanted to say every year for Christmas, I think it's Hobby Lobby has this commercial, and they set this little scene, whatever little scene it is, but at the end of the commercial, the main theme of the
you froze, Miss Sparkle.
Ouch.
Commercial is church is kind of like what you make it. I don't go to church for people. I go to church for that spiritual connection. I go to church to hear the word. I don't really focus on people because, like I said, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I don't focus on that anymore. That's not where my focus is. My focus is on building my own personal relationship with God. And so for that reason, now, and trust me, there was a good time, good while there that I wasn't even going to church, even though I was raised in the church. Yeah. I wasn't going to church, was doing other things. But, now that I'm a lot older, I find a lot of peace in salvation. And so, I started attending again.
One thing that people used to say, and I guess we're gonna get off this subject, but one thing that people used to say is don't look at the man, look at the message. But to me, that's like saying, okay, let the man that's blind drive your car and you sit on the passenger seat. Because if the man is blind and even though he can put his hand on the steering wheel and he can push the gas, doesn't necessarily mean that he should be behind that wheel. Some people will catch that, some people won't. But
that's the main reason I swayed away from the church, because of the pastor. I lost my confidence in the church because of what the pastor was doing. He had a beautiful wife and was trying to sleep with my mom and my aunt. I'm like, come on, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started. I've made my own personal relationship with God without going through the third party.
Right.
And I don't knock nobody that's going to the third party, but
not at all.
My view of religion, I'm gonna say my view of church. To me, church is for the spiritually weak. That's just me. Because
let's save some of this good commentary, bro. Let's save some of this
for the next one. Okay, but
that's good for the other subject matter, right?
Yeah, that's the other subject matter. But we'll touch that.
We need to do one on that though. That's gonna be a good subject too.
Yeah. But back to the topic at hand. I really believe that, like we said in the beginning, that it was taken out of context when someone stated they don't need a man. And I want to reiterate for whoever wasn't on here that what I meant by that is a woman can financially take care of herself these days. She can buy a dog, she can buy a gun, and she can buy a dildo. So she can take care of herself. But neither one of those things provide the emotional support.
Right. They don't take the place of
caring that one would need in a human
connection, in a human relationship. Yeah.
Right.
You can get your dog.
Well,
you can
I
pet
don't
your
think
dog.
anybody is disputing.
So,
and to add that not needing a man thing, they can't pull that hair back and spank. Yeah, I've never mind. Don't pay me no mind. I was just saying,
but it's true. But it is
you can't
true.
replace that.
Can't replace that.
This is I thought this was a PG show.
No, this
is I'm sorry.
No, but
yeah. I think though that, and because I've been through those phases, like I said, last show, like my mom was a single parent. Her marriage didn't work. She wound up being, a side piece for forever and all that. And so I wanted to be married and I wanted to, have a man, right? And all that. But I also have been taking care of my family, even as a kid, well into, graduating and going off to college and all that stuff. And so I learned independence from that, right? I did not have, that male party in my life to teach me what that looked like, right? So even when I got married, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I mean, most people don't anyway, but especially if you don't have an example to look at, then you don't know how, right? Then if you're choosing the wrong people, right, then you also still end up in a bad situation because I learned some stuff in here, but I still don't know what I'm doing, right? And so, like, for me, the independence came from there were not people around me that I could depend on. So I learned independence, right? And so it wasn't that I didn't need a man or it wasn't that I didn't want a man or I didn't need him to take care of me because I've always been taking care of myself. I've been taking care of my own family. So I knew I had the ability to do that, right? I desire to have a man, right? And I do need an emotional support. And I need hugs and smack on the ass. You know what I'm saying? So you still desire and need those things, right? And those are human conditions, right? Those are things that we all need connection and all that stuff or whatever. But I also think that, and for each person is different, for each woman is different. We'd have to speak to different cohorts to see what their reason for saying that is and all that. For me, it's because I could only depend on myself. And if I was even when I got married, I could not depend on him. But I had to learn that through trial and error. I didn't think that was across the board of all men, right? I knew there's somebody out there. I saw some other people, men that were taking care of their business, right? So I recognized that was a him issue, right? And that was a him issue because he never grew up. It was a him issue because he didn't get what he needed as a kid. So he couldn't lead. He didn't have the ability to lead because he still had pain inside that he had not taken care of. But I also know women who are so toxic and feminist. They're like, because I don't need all that, blah, 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 blah. I also think that comes from pain, right? Where this man that messed over you so many times.
Right.
My mama get messed over 1,000 times and my uncle ain't no good, and so they lose confidence and faith because they don't see the examples around them. And so where is their hope, right? And so, yeah, it does. It takes examples. It takes to be able to see that. It takes to be able to interact with people, who can, right? And all that stuff. I had no confidence. Even after I got divorced, I'm like, yeah, I still want to be in a relationship. I still want to have a man and all that stuff. Where am I going to find one that's going to be up to par, that can take care of me in the way I need to be taken care of, right?
So you didn't turn bitter against being with a man. You just accepted the fact and the responsibility of choosing the wrong man. You held accountable that the man you were with just wasn't the man you needed.
Exactly.
That didn't knock the male as a whole.
Right.
You accepted the fact the man I chose just wasn't
the man I chose wasn't it.
There you go.
But most people don't have that level of emotional intelligence to do that. That's just like people when they say all men are dogs. Well, all or nothing is like anomalies. That's two extremes, right? It's a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody that ain't no good at all, and you got somebody that's absolutely great. But there's everything in between, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say. Then you got me. I'm in between.
Just
my thing is I have a 4-month-old daughter, and my biggest fear. I don't know where the echo is coming from, but my biggest fear is her finding someone like the younger me. Yeah, my biggest fear is her finding someone like the younger me versus the me now. Right. And I want her to be able to identify what is good for her so she wouldn't have to go through the relationships that I put other people through or the relationships that I went through to, minimize her pain experience, right, if you will, her heart pain experience. Right. I don't want her to go through a lot of the heartache and heartbreaks that a number of women go through these days that have turned them bitter and hating towards men. I want her to be able to have discernment and be able to, again, identify. I want her to have a pimp mentality. Right. Be able to identify and be like, go, I don't need you. Right. Right. I choose you. I choose who I want. Right. Right. Because absolutely. I don't want to feel like I need anyone or anything. Right.
Right. And that's why I said earlier on here, I prefer a woman who wants me over a woman who needs me, because if something happened and I can't provide that need, she's going to seek that need into someone else.
Yeah. Right.
That an independent woman seems like she can't be a good mate, wife, or mother. Like, I still want to cook for my, even if I'm busting my ass.
It's counterintuitive, right? Because
what part is
independent?
Okay.
Right? It's the same thing as saying that you want a dependent man. These two go opposite of each other, because an independent woman depends on no one, and a dependent man can't be dependent on.
What should we depend on our man for?
For protection, provision. It could be spiritual guide. It could be education. A man that wants to.
But you haven't said money yet.
The priest, the prophet. That's being a provider. That's provision.
But I'm saying, like, all of these things that I would want for a man, I would love when men pay for my shit.
But that doesn't mean that you can't have your own money.
But also, why did you go directly to the independent and the dependent?
Do you not believe the polar opposites?
But do you not believe that two independent people can exist together in a
I
relationship?
don't think they need each other. I think that what is the point of having relationships? The same thing if you get a business partner that you don't need.
And so that's kind of what Sparkle was saying earlier. Put some headphones on, Booty.
Well,
So do you not believe that two independent people?
yeah, I don't know. We have like two platforms. Like she's listening on one device, like talking on another. She's listening on one because there's a drag and a delay.
Put some headphones on, Booty.
Well, so pause. Mute Sparkle's.
I don't think it's Sparkle.
We'll try it.
Try and see.
All right, hold on.
Okay, so it's not reverbing now, and you don't have the.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
so-
you're echoing again, Sparkle. Go back to the way you were talking at first. I think you went from speaker or something.
No, I haven't touched anything. I don't know. Maybe I was just too close to the iPad. Yeah, but
Okay.
the second point that I wanted to make was relationships kind of also follow the trend of our economy. And right now, the way our economy is set up, if I don't think right now, I don't think we could really afford to go back to one income families. Like I said before, that kind of changed back in the 70s when a lot of these major corporations realized they could make more money, you know, and even if you just take a field like retail, for instance, okay, 90% of retail is targeted towards women. So if women are not spending money, a lot of these, you know, businesses would, well, basically, our economy would basically crash because
y'all know what? Sparkle is on something. Peep this out, because she Sparkle on her stuff, man. We go,
What happens to when the woman tell you, I don't need a man, Steve?
Okay, if you don't, how that's working? How that's working? Who don't need no man?
I'm independent. I can do for myself.
Yeah, but why do you want to? Yeah, okay, you can drop a transmission. You can sandblast your house. But hell, do you want to?
No.
If somebody could get out there and drop this transmission for you and sandblast your house, why don't you go get your nails done? I'm not trying to reduce a woman to nothing else. Be all you can be. But damn, who don't need a man? That's a lie. What man don't need a woman? I tell you what, try to live without her. Try to live your life without women. This is some bullshit without women. If it wasn't for women, what would you? Aristotle Onassis said it best. He said, if women did not exist, all the money in the world would have no meaning.
Great point.
And that's basically what Sparkle just said. If you remove the woman, that's that spending power.
Absolutely.
She just hit that on the head.
Well, it's I mean, look at the businesses that developed since women.
He said, if women did not exist, all the money in the world would have no.
Yeah. Somebody has two devices on.
Yeah, because I'm hearing an echo too. I'm only using one device. But if you look at just the retail industry alone, I mean, look at all the stores that we have now. We have TJ Maxx and Marshalls and IKEA, Home Goods, you know, Target, JCPenney's, Kohl's, I mean, Burlington, Ross. These are all stores that target women. So if women are not spending money, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but the way this economy is set up today, it would crash. And so,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a proven fact that men are not going to spend their money on the things that women did. Okay, I'm not going to see too many men running to Home Goods to buy napkins. Okay, I mean, and a tablecloth. I mean, things that women buy. Sheets and towels.
I hear no lie.
Men are not going to run to the store to buy these things. Okay, so so the only way that women can afford to buy them, okay, is if women have their own money. So I don't think any of these large corporations are going to push for the economy to go back to one income families.
Well, and society or the economy is set up where you cannot, at this point in time, be a one.
I wonder why there was a woman in a car commercial.
Well, it used to be that women were in any commercial because sex sells.
It sounds like.
Oh, she froze again.
Yeah, but sex does sell.
I mean, even football. You got women commentators. You got women
referees.
They night football. Okay, you're basically watching a concert. What's her name? Carrie Underwood?
She commentating?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing.
It's delayed. That's all. It keeps freezing. I don't know, my connection is bad.
Yeah, like
for the football game, you're basically watching a whole concert with Carrie Underwood. So I mean, women. It's like women. At some point, women became a target market, and it's a thriving and vibing market, and sort of that.
Do you think that's part of what
any of these nations or the government or these big businesses would?
Did that pit women against men?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. It's like women, at some point, women became a target market.
So one of the things like they used to do in the club, women night free, or women get in free because they knew that
sound like somebody.
And that's the same thing with church.
And bring the men.
With church. Bring the men.
But
I'm gonna leave the church thing alone.
but I normally dated women that had education, and sometimes their education was higher than mine. And so I think that going back to the video, that two independent people can coexist, because my wife doesn't need me for anything. She makes her own money. I don't need her for anything financially because I make my own money. So we're independent of each other, but still we depend on each other for our emotional caring, where our heart is invested. So we can put our financial anywhere and invest in that, the money that we make, but our emotional investment is in each other, and that's what makes us dependent on each other.
Right. Because like we talked on one other show about the word provider, right? That it don't just equal money. You're providing other aspects, right? And depending on what you need as an individual, right? I don't like putting my trash out. Somebody else do it. You know what I'm saying? But I installed my kitchen faucet and I was proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? And my man wasn't threatened about it. Actually turned him on a little bit because I was girl bossing, because I can take care of the things necessary, right?
Oh, you had that.
But if
bone
he was
fracture?
present and able, I would like him to do it, right? You
Right.
know, so that part, especially with the Steve Harvey section, like I feel that wholeheartedly. I can do all the things by myself, except I'm short. I need like a 3-step ladder to get up tall. But
why would you want to?
Oh, why would I want to? You know,
Right. So
I
that's
don't want to do all that stuff. I don't. You know.
What do Black women want from Black men? What do Black women want from Black men? We as Black women, we will say we no longer want to be a stay-at-home wife. We want to be bosses. We want to be entrepreneurs, and we want to obtain the bag. We will spew out vitriol, and we will say that we don't need a man. But in the same breath, we will complain about how men are not living up to our standards. If we don't need or want a man, why do we have standards for men? On the other hand, we will set these high standards for men, but we don't want to adhere to the standards that they set for us. Make it make sense, please.
You know, one of my biggest turnoffs was when I talked to a woman and they said that they wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. That told
When
me
they say they want to be a stay-at-home mom.
that they wanted to be a stay-at-home dad.
Oh.
That turned me off because to me, that told me you had no ambitions and no goals. That was just my personal feeling.
And I can feel that because even as I've always said, like, first of all, stay-at-home mom is a hard job. Be keeping the house. I don't want to do that. I'd rather go to work and all that. But I'm like that too, where I'm like, I want to be out in the workforce and I want to do things. And part of my purpose in what I'm doing now, you know, in helping people and stuff like that, you know, I need to work. And yes, I do. I would like to have my own, you know, income and all that kind of stuff. And even for me, I don't even like the term, you know, your own money. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're in a household, we're together, you know, we putting those resources together to build whatever it is we're trying to build, right? And all that. You know, and I had a relationship once where, you know, he did take care of all the household stuff, and I was going to school, and you know, and he wanted to be able to give me an allowance. I was like, I don't need. I go down the street to the Kroger, go give me a little job. And he was like, well, you don't have to put your money into the house. Cool. I made straight A's that semester. It was easy, you know, stuff like that. Had I not been in school though, I'd have been bored as hell. You know, like I need something to put my energy into, and I need, you know, like when we talked earlier about purpose and all that, like purpose is, there's lots of purposes, right? And purpose is independent to the person, right? And all that, what they desire and what they would like to fulfill, you know, for themselves, for their families or whatever, and all that. I don't think my value is not based in whether I'm married or not. My value is not based in whether I have a husband or whether I have kids. My value is based in me, right? The same thing I bring to my work table, right? And stuff like that. Not saying I don't need or want a man. Y'all like, y'all know I got the boo. I love the boo, you know, and stuff like that. But I just don't. I think it's some of it is society, some of it is religion, some of it. There's so many different components as to why we believe that the black man and the white man, the black man and the black woman, you know, are feuding. I don't think it's as big as we play it up to be, right? Right. I think it's a lot of it is societal, you know, just like when they tried to play the game that black men don't take care of their babies. They got lots of black men that take care of their babies, right? But the media doesn't publicize that, right? They don't put that out there. They want to put the impression that our black men don't take care of their babies, right? That's not most of the time. That's not the norm, right? Now, of course, in certain communities, it's going to be concentrated, you know, just like in certain communities, drugs going to be concentrated, you know, and all that. But overall, I do believe that black men and black women adore each other. They love each other, like, you know, and honor each other. We do have a cohort of folks that don't. And usually that's rooted in a lack of self-love, self-identity, right? And all that. Some people feel like if you're not marrying, if you're a black woman, not marrying a black man, and vice versa, that, you know, you have self-hatred. Not necessarily. That white man may have been the one that took care of you in the way that you needed to be taken care of, and you hadn't come across a black man that had, right? You know, and stuff like that. So
to be honest with you, I think that all ugly black women should marry a white man.
Shut up.
Piggybacking on what he said about what Austin said about a woman who says she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. I agree with him. If they say that initially and we're not planning a child, I totally agree. Okay. But me personally, I don't trust the daycare system that's out here today.
Oh, I can understand that too.
And if I'm able financially to hold all the bills down, all our needs, and 60% of our wants are met, I wanted mine at home. Neither one of my children has ever stepped foot in the daycare because I don't trust the daycare system. So I was blessed enough to have the income for her to be a stay-at-home mom to raise mine, because I saw what my sister kids went through. I saw what friends' kids went through at these modern day daycares. So if she's blessed enough, if the family, the household is blessed enough for her to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom with my child, I'm with it. But if I meet somebody and I say, so what do you plan on doing? I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. Oh no, I agree with him.
If that's their goal, you're like.
But when mine's pregnant, I'm gonna be looking at those. I got those 8 months to either increase my income, get another income, or get another job. Because baby doll, you ain't finna be working. I'm sorry, you finna raise. You know what I'm saying? And then once he go to school, first grade, kindergarten, Head Start. So that just gives you 4 years to relax and get your mind right. The 3.5. But once he go to school and you want to get back out there in the workforce,
she can't venture out and do other things. She can be entrepreneurial. She can try some other. You know what I'm saying? Like, internet
jobs, work from home. Pat him down, put him down, and go back to the phone. Get back, go back to, But I agree with him on if her main purpose is to be a stay-at-home mom. So that means she's wanting you to get her pregnant so she can sit at home and raise a child. That's different compared to your wife or your significant other who y'all been living together, shacking, whatever y'all want to call it. Y'all
come to that agreement that that's the best thing for you.
Because when mine got pregnant, she was working 2 jobs. I said, all right. When that baby bump got showing, I say, when you hit that 5th, 6th month, you out of that workforce.
Shut it down.
I got it. And and she just couldn't grasp that because she's so used to I leave this job, I go to that job, I'm off for 2 days. I was like, but no. You finna, and so I took her out of that. I mean, and I was blessed to do that, but I know everybody can't. But I used to see these women that was swole belly 7, 8 months, stuck out there, look like they swallowed a watermelon seed, and they throwing up. They feeling sick. They still at work, got sweet floors and blue planograms, and still got to go into take the elevator and go up to the floor and still file papers and still try to deal with the morning sickness. So when mine got about, I'm gonna say 4 or 5 months maybe pregnant, you coming out of there? Nah, I got this.
And that's like when I wish I would have had that. I had to go on bed rest my last month of pregnancy. That meant I had to move out of my apartment, go back home, live with my mama, but if I had somebody who could have provided in that way, then I could have just stopped working and focused on my health and the baby. You know what I'm saying? And all that.
Go ahead,
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
You know,
It's hard work.
I mean, I was fortunate and blessed that I am fortunate and blessed that number one, my wife has a great work from home job, and we have family to support us, so my child doesn't have to go to a daycare.
We don't have the family.
Yeah, so
we don't. Yeah, so you were blessed on that aspect. We didn't have it. You know, her mama working. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have it, and so I was like, we gotta do what we gotta do. And being that I've been walking by faith since 2000,
right?
Anything I need is taken care. I don't even worry about my needs. My needs are met no matter what. My needs have been met since 2000. So, yeah, we didn't have family support at all. The whole pregnancy, the whole marriage, we didn't even get not one silver spoon for a marriage. What they call it, a gift, whatever. We didn't get a silver fork. No, none of them did the registry. They didn't ask us net. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even come to the wedding. You know, well, her mom made it, and my mom made it, but all the people we invited didn't even put forth an effort. And you know, back in the day, if they didn't make it, they'll at least send a gift.
Send a gift, yeah.
We had people saying, "Hey, we're gonna send you a housewarming. We bought the house. Hey, we're gonna send you some housewarming." We ain't received a skillet, a bowl. So I don't, the family support. Needless to say, like Sparkle say, long story short, needless to say, the family support just wasn't there. So we did what we had to do, and I walk by faith. So the Creator blessed me to be able to supply all our needs and 60% of the wants. And so I was like, hey, we good, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that preacher was there to tell you that, so you realize where all your help comes from, the Lord. Now, but
exactly.
It's 9:31 for me, and
yeah, he got to go. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And we're gonna get ready to go back to Sparkle, and we're gonna be on here with her for another 30 minutes, and then Chanel and I are gonna land the ship. We're gonna dock the ship. So, but it was a pleasure speaking with you, Austin. As always, next week, we're doing the hip hop thing, so. Hop on, you know what I'm saying, if you get a break, and just tell your contribution, and because I made him get in a group with me. So he was my keyboardist. Yeah, and he also could beatbox. So he looks like that, but I had him hip. He looked like that.
I was on the girl, I was on it.
All right.
He looked like that, but I had him hip. But but yeah, next week we gonna talk about hip hop, the origin of hip hop. I'm gonna dip deeper into that. So we'll see you next week, man. Howdy.
All right, peace.
But yes, back to the topic at hand. It's and Sparkle, what she didn't and like we said earlier, Chanel, I think black males, the black men, especially the 40 plus, the ones who were taught and it was instilled in them that you're going to be the head of the household. You're going to go out there. Your job is to provide and protect that woman. And if y'all have kids, the woman and the kids. And even if they're not your kids, your job is to provide and protect. Today, the generation frowns on that man who steps in for another man and take care of his kids. It's a disgrace in today's society to be a stepfather. But back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that man was highly respected when he went anywhere. He walked in a grocery store. They'll say, oh man, Mr. Bubba took care of her kids just like they his. And the people didn't even know that they weren't his kids. They didn't know. You know, because everything was and the families back then were to themselves. It wasn't all this flaunting and social media where you exposing folk. If Mr. Bubba taking care of Richard's kids, it wasn't no feud. They respected each other. Hey man, what that song? She used to be my girl. Yeah. But who sung that? Was it the Whisper? OJ's or something. She used to be my girl. He was like, you know, And I tell you so, you know, he was bragging on that woman. She used to be mine. If I had a chance, I'll take her back. You got her now. You got her now. It was respect in the Black community. Everybody respect. And we lost that respect.
Yeah.
Somewhere, and like Sparkle say, don't get me wrong. I think Generation X, which is the 40 plus, I think we did fumble that damn ball. I'm not gonna fumble the ball because it's several reasons. The mothers had to go work because if we created us men, we put babies out there, and we didn't stay with that woman. Just like, okay, I got an older brother.
Okay.
In college, Q, doing his thing. Okay. One of the women that he was dating, the one that got impregnated, he married her. Okay, that's what men did back then. I
was gonna mention that when I got home, and Sparkle was talking about that, and I was thinking that a lot of times that you know, that was the standard, and it was so. I mean, that's where shotgun weddings come from, right? You know, you get her pregnant, you're gonna have to marry her, right?
Right.
Didn't always make for a happy marriage, right? But they did get married, and that did force them to go ahead and provide, and there was some honor in that, right?
Right.
You know, and I think even for a little while, you know, before we broke it, you know, there was still honor in, because I remember, my mom used to tell my brother that you get somebody, she wouldn't say you were gonna marry them, but you're gonna take care of that damn baby. You're not going to walk away from that, right? And so there was still that value in you're going to take care of any children that you create. You are responsible for that, right? And you're right. Somewhere along the lines, you know, it got messed up. And I think, you know,
and my generation, because he was 15, 20 years older than I was, my generation was like, just because I got a baby don't mean I have to be with her. You know, so it did start with us, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that was in the 90s, you know, early 90s.
Which in fact is true, but you still are responsible for the baby.
You're responsible for the baby, but yeah.
Now,
but we don't have to be with her. Why I gotta be with her? Because she got pregnant? If both of us did that, I didn't make her, I didn't put no gun to her head to make her pull her pants down. You know, and that was our mentality. And then we listened to Snoop Dogg. We don't love them all. No. And so that was our generation. We started that. So when the brother Kenny Gaines, he said, "You don't think we got a lot to do with that, Black?" And so I had to start thinking.
You got to look at the
I had to look at, you know, what we did, because my brother paused everything, and he was popular. He had the women, but the one that got pregnant, he shut everything down and was solely with her. I wasn't finna do that. I got this and that and that. Okay, we just effed up and made that baby, but I'm going with Sheila over here, and she what it do. Me and her was almost over when I got Sheila pregnant. So I ain't with her no more, but I didn't know she was pregnant. I found out 3 months later while I'm with Sheila that Sharon was pregnant, you know. And I'm not finna just dump Sheila because we got a good thing and run the Sharon. So we broke that. You gotta be with her just cause she married. No. Just cause she pregnant. No. We broke that. And so it's being held accountable.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, Generation X. We don't want to be held accountable for what's going on. And like Sparkle said so many times, she think it's the miseducation because we're not giving that education. Us men, like we had older men, OGs that was 20 years older than us. When we seen them, because they was preaching in the community and getting on us in the community. When you walk by them, you pull your pants up.
I
got a big shirt that I have custom made with the FU finger on it. But when I'm going around Walmart and I know Mr. Robinson may be there, I didn't wear that shirt. I turned it inside out and I walked in the store. Now the generation don't care. But it's because we don't deal with them. And like we said on season 1, it's when we lost the village. When the village got shut down,
I agree.
You don't touch my child.
You touch my child. You can't discipline my child.
Don't say nothing to my child. It's a problem if you touch my child. If you say something to my child, you take care of yours, or you ain't even no parent, so you have no right to say nothing to my child.
Right. Yeah.
When that happened,
I think that's when they start falling apart too.
When the kids got a will that mom or dad is gonna take my side,
right?
All hell went loose.
Right.
And it kept drifting.
Yeah.
And so now we're where we are
even
today.
the people that would step in, now they got their hands off now. Like I ain't gonna tell them nothing.
And when you say something to him, what he say? Man, I don't know what's going on with him. I thought he was gonna be a good child. I don't know what's going on. I can't tell him that. I don't know what's going on. That was the men are saying now.
Right.
And then me, I don't want to deal with him because now I got my own. I got a 14-year-old girl now.
Right.
So I ain't got time to be dealing with the lady across the street child, because hell, I gotta make sure mine steered straight. I got all kind of cameras in the room. We got iPhones. We tracking everything she's doing. We looking at the text messages. So hell, we going crazy enough over here. And that's how we're looking at it now. So we don't have time to pass down that education, you know. And I used to run a youth program, and this was about maybe 10 years ago. I had a youth program, and I ran it for 5 years. And in that youth program, the parents who dropped them off, we had control of them. Yeah. It was a lot, and it was youth of incarcerated parents. So if the dad was in jail or the mom was in jail, we were affiliated with them. We would tutor them, take them on trips, took them to Memphis, Beale Street, took them to Atlanta. We just did a whole lot of things with them, put them in music. I had them to meet D4L, Young Jeezy, and I just, you know, we worked with the kids in the community. But today, those programs are absolutely are hard to find because the kids have no respect. And if they don't respect their parents at home, they're going to look at me as a stranger.
Yep.
And so that's where that new behavior, I don't need women, we don't need men. That's where all of that's coming from, because we're not educating and showing the purpose. And speaking of slavery, like I say, we all struggle. That man would get beat. Okay, he'll get whipped.
Right.
Who nursed him back to health? To health. That woman, that black woman, nursed him back to health. But that education right there is missed these days. We don't talk about that. They're not showing roots because we don't want to see it. The younger generation, like, I don't even want to look at that because it's supposed to be so traumatizing to look at. So that part of the history is not felt.
Right.
So they like, well, that ain't gonna never happen to me. They quick to say, hey, this ain't back in slavery time. They quick to say that, but they don't know the struggle that went through slavery time. So most of this bashing that's going on between the black and between black men and black women are more of the newer generations, the 30s and under, because the 40s and up understand the struggle. They know where we came from. They know what black women went through. They know the struggle that the black woman wasn't able to work. So when that woman got a job, when my mom got a job, dad was happy because there's more income coming inside the house. And the economy was great back then. I think the president was either Jimmy Carter or something.
That was a land yap.
Yeah, it was like, okay, she's a paralegal. He at the mill, or she's at Angus Chemicals, and he's at the mill. So it was great. But this new generation, it seemed like they're more in competition because that woman was struck down, per se. The man put the babies in her, men or whatever, left her alone. She was with mom. Mom don't want her in the house because those moms was like my moms who say we ain't rocking no babies. So when I started having children, I knew I couldn't go dump them on mom because mama said I'm not rocking no babies. She told us this, and I used to hear her tell my sister that, and she's like 3-5 years older than me. She used to preach that to my sister when my sister was like 15 years old. And I'm listening to this. So my sister mad to this day because mama didn't keep my kids. Well, shit, mama told you she wasn't rocking.
She told you
no
already.
kids.
She let
So
you
what
know.
you mad for? So she like, how you able to do this, do that? Because I knew if I made them, I had to take care of them.
Take care of them.
That's the difference in us, you know. And so when you got mothers that wasn't, that's not open arms. Now today, these children are out here 13, 14, 15, maybe 16 years old, just dropping baby after baby after baby. And mama said, oh, my grandbaby, bring him on over here, bring him on over here. And so now she got a house full of kids that this little girl that dropped off from 16 years old, got 3 kids. Grandma taking care of them. She out there in the street
So
making
she back out there doing the same thing again.
doing the same thing over
Because
again.
you're not holding her accountable. I told
right.
all of my girls, if you get pregnant, I would never put you out in the light because I ain't gonna do that to my baby. I ain't gonna do that to my grandbaby. But you gonna know you got a kid because I ain't taking care of it for you. It's your responsibility. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna be supportive, but I'm not taking care of your baby for you. You need to feel the full effect of that thing. You know what I'm saying? I even tested it out on one of my adopted daughters after she had her baby. She wound up being in the mental hospital for like a week. And so my daughter is 23 now. She was what, 12, 13 at the time. And she volunteered to take care of the baby. I was like, you sure you want to do that? You know, but I let her feel all of it. I let her get up and she still had to go to school. She got up in the middle of the night, fed that baby. She got up early in the morning. She handed that baby off to me in the morning when she went to school. And when she came home, she grabbed that baby. But she felt the whole effect of it for a full week and all that. And she was like, yeah, Mom, I'm not having no baby. Not until I could really take care. That was hard. Yeah,
Right.
it is. It's very hard.
And,
right?
and they don't teach, if we don't teach them, they don't teach them because they don't teach sex education anymore. They're not coming home with that egg that they got to take care of, or that
Oh man, that's a good project.
play baby. They don't do that anymore. They took it out.
Yeah.
Check
And
this
while
one
it's
out.
not a secret that women at this point are starting to hate men, men are also starting to hate women. And who can we blame for this? Well, we can blame social media. Social media is the prime reason why the genders are starting to hate each other. Because social media gives you the ability to watch a horrific shit done to either side of the aisle, which easily helps you paint a narrative on how you feel about the other gender. And while some of you may say, no, that's not true, it's due to my experience, what do most people do with their experiences? They document them in video form or forum or a Facebook post, thus giving the world yet another perspective on how either gender is being treated by the other. So skipping over to the last question on the test, how do we counteract this? The leaders of these spaces need to stop demonizing the other and instead help the ones below them navigate the dating space. You can talk about all the shitty things that people do to each other all the time. It's going to happen. It's life. But what's the point of talking about it if nothing constructive happens?
I love that.
Yeah. We not twisting to tell the positive. We're just focusing on the negatives.
Right. And you're right. You will create your own narrative. What you about to say, Ms. Book?
I find that a lot of the relationships that that last today or the relationships where they kind of like just get rid of the gender roles.
They do what with the gender roles? Get rid of them?
Gender roles?
They just get rid of the gender roles. Because
Yeah.
they don't really work in today's society.
They don't.
Okay, when you say gender roles, what do you mean?
Men are supposed to do this. Women are supposed to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we over here.
Right? Because in whatever household there is, right? You know, if I am naturally better at this thing, right, and it's deemed as a man's job, right, but he's not good at it, then should he still be doing that? You know? And all
Right.
that. So
Mine worked pretty good because I came from the era where I learned how to change a fan belt on a vehicle. I learned how to change oil. I know how to patch walls around the house. I know how to put up television when we got sheetrock without them falling out. So I grew up with real men. Every man, and I was blessed. All my uncles, brothers, pops, everybody were real men, you know. It wasn't no whippy, no sissies. They were real men. So I had to learn these things. I'm in the house looking at He-Man or something. Come on out here, boy. We're gonna change the fan belt. And it's hot outside. I gotta go out there and hand me that wrench over there. Now you get up under there and I want you to twist that, you know. And so I learned how to do that stuff from the age of maybe 6 to 8 years old. They started making me do stuff on my own. So in our household, she loves cooking. So it just kind of works out.
It works, yeah.
It works. She loves she go to TikTok, she look at these old gourmet meals and she making stuffed getting them big shells of macaroni type shells and putting all kind of stuff, meat, sauce in them. So she's like culinary schooling off TikTok. So she does all of that. And I'll take care of the, electrical stuff. We got a son, he mows the yard. So we kind of, it's not a really gender role.
Yeah.
It's not a gender role. It's what we're comfortable in doing.
Yeah.
Right. Comfortable doing. So I don't say, because I know how to cook too. I cooked when we first got together, the first 5 years, I was our chef. Yeah. And now she's taken over that. I finally let her do, I think maybe 2 years ago, she finally did. Okay, I tried to make her do a Thanksgiving dinner maybe 5 years ago. And when I tell you it's sucked. Okay. So that next year she's tried it again. She was going good, but she went to sleep. I had to finish the meal. Okay. So just last year, she finally cooked a good Thanksgiving dinner. And then this year, she outdid herself. I'm talking about when I tell you the macaroni was like Ruth Chris. It was it had the crust, it was the cheese was all in there, and it was creamy, stringy. Yes, with the crust. And I was like, okay, baby. I said, okay, you got it. You know what I'm saying? She finally outdid me with the cooking. And so after that, she just been the cook. Right. And my son, I have an 8-year-old. She be putting a little, I call it thyme, but she say thyme. She put the little thyme on there, have a little rosemary. And I'm like, when I tell you I don't do the thyme and the rosemary, you just don't get a good meal, But you have to do all that. She put the potatoes. Yeah. Her Spanish like Gordon Ramsay and all that.
Yes.
I just want to eat. It's gonna taste good, but I ain't gonna have it pretty. It's gonna be meat on the plate, but all that.
We throw the little extra flavor on it. The appeal of the plate.
Yeah, and then she's actually she's building a TikTok page now where she's showing her dishes, and she's been
I can't wait.
She's been good. So it's gender. It's inspired,
right,
by the tradition,
your roles, right.
But it's what we want to do.
Yeah.
It's what we're comfortable, and like you say, it's what we're good at doing. She's not good at hanging televisions. She's not good at sanding down the wall and paint going back over it. If I show you a wall that I patched up, my son, they was in there playing. And he got mad and boom, he put a hole in it. I'm talking about he hit it hard because we got some solid walls.
Yeah.
And he put a hole in it, but I have him at the gym working out with me. And I patched that hole a couple of days ago. You can't even tell it's there. You know what I'm saying? But she seen it and she was like, I'm gonna try to do it because she's ambitious. She wants to try to do things.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was like, she looked at a video. Oh, I'll do it. But no, before she can even jump on it, we're not going to experiment. This is cosmetic to the house, so let me take care of it. Too. So gender roles. I go out and I got to make all the bacon. I come home tired. She cook and then she clean. It's whomever is able to do whatever. Because when she's not feeling well or she tied up, I get in that kitchen, I make a mean lasagna.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do the lasagna thing. I'm going to put pepperoni on there. I might even drop some Italian sausage or something on it. And it looked like a pizza, but when you cut into it, you got lasagna. So we Trans, but yeah, I bet if it is that household, like she said, if you come home and I know my job is to work my finger to the bone, wear them flannel shirts and wear that work boot and them jeans with them old almost holes in them jeans, like Roseanne them. And then when my wife go out, she looking like $1 million, and I got on a damn flannel shirt and some work boots. That is, I watched that growing up. I cannot go through that. No, sir. So when she look, and I'm real bad at it. If she say, well, we finna go to Black Wall Street or let's go ride or something, I look at what she putting on.
Yeah.
And that decides if I'm gonna put on some jeans and a polo shirt, or am I gonna put on my sweats and a nice matched t-shirt and some tennis shoes. It depends on what, because I say you're not gonna have me looking like no damn rag doll and you looking like a Barbie doll. No, sir. So I go in there, I'm gonna shave, I'm gonna put the hat on, and I'm gonna step out, I'm gonna put the big watch on, and I'm gonna step out. Because I've seen Pops and them when Mama looking beautiful. And he got on that goddamn flannel shirt and some damn work boots. And no, sir. I can't do that. I can't do that.
I don't blame you.
Can't do it. So yeah, the gender roles, I feel like, yeah, we need to. Like I say, it depends. But like she say, majority of them, yeah, for the household. But yeah, a lot of them last without the gender roles. But I still think, and this probably gonna be our first podcast in February, I still think relationships need to set boundaries, though.
Oh, absolutely.
There needs to be boundaries within that relationship, because without boundaries, things can get out of hand.
They run amok.
If I have company coming over and she not feeling well, and she allows me to do that, she stays in the room, me and my company down there, music playing, we drinking, we having a good time. And she's up there hurt. I'm not spending time with her. And that's how it used to be, because I'm a DJ. People like being around me as the party man. But when she's not feeling well, I didn't, at first, when we first got together, I didn't respect that, because this is what I do. And as we stayed together, it dawned on me, and it took my uncle, the one who married us, that's in the church, to break it down to me that it's not me no more when you marry.
Right.
It's no more me, I, and my. He says we, us, and our. And he started breaking that down to me, but a lot of people don't have no one to break it down. Yeah, because I was like, this is what I do, and she knew what she was getting into. My mentality, you knew what you was getting into when you got into it. So I feel what you're saying. We'll turn it down a little bit. But you can put some headphones on, and I'll come up here every blue moon and check on you. I'll check on you every maybe hour. I'm gonna come up here and check on you. 45 minutes. Hey, you all right? You need anything? All right, run on back down there and turn up. Oh, y'all gotta go back up here. Hey, you all right? Okay, you need some water? Okay, here go your pills right here. All right, run back down there and turn back up. But I had to learn that wasn't the way to go, because to her it felt like I didn't care.
Right. You didn't make her.
But to me it was like, you sick, I'm bringing you the meds, I'm checking on you every 45 minutes. Right. What difference does it make?
Right.
Yeah. We was already scheduled for them to come by.
Yeah.
They was already coming. You got sick last minute. So what I'm gonna do? But I learned that phone call to say, hey, she ain't feeling good, man. Let's reschedule to next week, the wife. And I felt soft. I felt weak, because I wasn't used to doing that,
Right.
But it just, and miseducation. Right. Had it not been the married men in my family to put that in my ear that, hey, man, you don't think maybe, and then being that I was wrong, they would put it in a question form. You don't think that maybe they don't need to come by tonight because she's not feeling well? And hell, if y'all living next week or living next month, redo it. It's not like they going away, you going away. If it's meant for y'all together, y'all gonna turn up.
Right.
But if she wants that quiet moment and you by her side, be by her side.
Yeah.
And at first, I had a problem with it because I didn't understand that. Mm-hmm. But it's maturity and respect. So that's what's missing a lot with these generations as it goes down. Lack of respect. We're not teaching respect. Women feel like independence means I can say she can go to a man and tell him to kiss her ass.
Yeah.
Go to hell because I'm making my own money.
Yeah,
I don't need you. You know, and a lot of younger generations think that that's what I don't need a man means.
Yeah.
And they trying to fight these men. They disrespecting them in front of friends and family. They disrespecting them on the job. You know, and that's where it's out of hand. So that's where the real gender war comes in at. It's because we're back and forth. Back in the day, and even in my house, like Big Mama used to have that thing, as for me and my house, we don't serve the Lord. No. As for me and my house, we gonna respect each other. So she might want to curse me out. She might want to express herself in a way, a meaningful way, but we're not gonna do that in front of company. She may go upstairs and thank God we got text messaging. She'll text me and say, hey, when you finish talking to them, I need to see you upstairs. I know it's some bullshit. I know when I get up there, some hell finna break loose. So I'm so I stay downstairs enough, and then I'll wait another 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll ease on upstairs. If I stay too long, she's gonna say, what time you coming? I'm like, oh hell. So I know then to go ahead and kind of wind my company down because it's about to be some hell upstairs. I done said something I didn't have no business saying. But guess what? They didn't know it. And when she do something or say something I don't like, they don't know it. But we know it. And she might say, check your phone. And I know, God,
you know already.
I already know. So the respect is missing. And that's the main reason for the gender war. And like men say, we know women don't need us per se, but the black woman constantly tell them that I don't need you.
That's true too. That's true too.
I don't need you. Yeah. If you want to, I don't need you. And that's where too it falls off. And check him out.
I feel like it's a big agenda in society today to turn black women and black men against each other. And honestly, I feel like it's already started. It's already happened, or it's already happening. These days it's just more in your face. It's not hidden. You heard me. And it's more substantial. It's more alarming. It's happening at more of an alarming rate. And it's truly unfortunate, because black women and black men need each other. You hear me? We live in a society today where the idea of needing a person is seen as a weakness, or seen as an inferiority. You hear me? But we need each other. Society, the music, and social media will have us forgetting that we are each other. You hear me? Like, black women and black men are just reflections of each other. You heard me? And it have us forgetting that some generations ago, you heard me, we was in slavery, not able to love each other. What society puts out today have us forgetting that. It seems like these days we give up on each other fast. You heard me? Fast and quickly, and in a very disrespectful way. We forget that we all come from survival. A lot of us barely made it out. Survival mode can be such a dangerous thing, because while you're trying to survive, sometimes you don't realize who you're damaging while you're just trying to survive, so it creates this cycle. We all need to heal.
That was deep right there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like,
you know what? I'm around young people all the time. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and so what I think I'm going to do is sit down and start to really talk to them.
Yeah.
And try to get their perspective, and see how they feel about this.
Good idea.
It just seems like most of the girls kind of feel like they're like they have to do certain things.
Right.
But then, when I talk to my son and his, friends, a lot of them are always complaining about the girls wanting this and whatnot. And I try to tell them, I say, well, it's different now because we have the internet, we have all these different apps, and these girls are, looking at things and they see these things and they want them for themselves.
Yeah.
So, and they don't want to wait for somebody to give it to them.
Right.
Either. If you're not handing it out, they're going to go get it. So, but I do think I will sit down and talk with them, and try to see how they feel. Because I haven't really heard that. I haven't really heard a lot of the young women saying that they don't need a man. But I have heard a lot of them saying that they feel like they have to do certain things because the man is not doing it.
Not going to do it.
Yeah.
And forced independence.
Yeah.
So to speak. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel like
change their own tires. Change the flat. Do their own oil or find somebody to do it. We're back in the day. Now, and I want to say this with the gender war thing. It's not, and Sparkle, you mentioned on the last one that it seems like the black man hates, what the accomplishment of what the black woman has done. And I really don't think it's more of a dislike when men are speaking and it seems like a gender war. It's more of what we see today compared to what we saw growing up. So that black man sees that woman advertising her breasts, advertising wearing the revealing clothing, showing her buttocks and you can see the print, it's no imagination.
Yeah.
So black men speak on that. Women see the black male
is trying to control
staying with mama, running back home to mama when he 25, 30 years old, he running back home. They're seeing he making babies everywhere and not taking care of any of them. They're seeing him not wanting a job. So it's like everybody's speaking their mind with the help of social media, but everybody's confident to speak their mind now. And it looks like it's a war, but really they're talking about what they're actually seeing. And how can I respect, or what would make me submit to you when you're not leadership material? Period. You're not working. You post hustling. You selling drugs for Johnny, and expect to take care of this household. When I got 2-3 kids, this is the woman's mentality. I got 2 or 3 kids that I'm trying to raise, and I'm up here working at churches, or I'm up here working at Popeyes, paying all the bills. You hustling for Johnny, every little bit you make, you got to give to him, and you're risking going to jail. And if you go to jail, guess what? I got to take care of these kids. So guess what? You do you, and I'm going to take care of these kids. So she go off, get 2-3 jobs, and she's forced to be independent. So you can't respect nothing that don't respect itself. And I think that's where we say it's a gender war, because she can't respect him because he don't have that get up and go in itself, and he don't respect her because she's on social media with her breast out. So everybody just speaking their mind, and so
I'm just wondering how we can get our young men away from that mentality, that selling drugs.
I feel like
I think it's a matter of what we talked about before, like Ms. Marco, you was talking about, talking to the youth and all. I mean, if we're talking that the issue is one of the biggest issues is miseducation, then we need to continue to have platforms like this. We need to go out into the community. We need to start talking to our young people and teaching them the things that they don't know, right?
I mean,
whoever will listen, and who won't, and they'll learn the hard way, right? But as there's those Generation X that fucked up. We have a duty to help correct it as well.
Well, I just think there was a lot more love in the black relationship when the man wasn't fearing for his life. I mean, all these young guys, if they're out here selling drugs,
that means they're basically fearing for their lives every day. Okay, so how you gonna come home and be soft and loving and warm with your woman and your children, and then 5 minutes later you got to jump up and go, you know, in the street, you know, into a whole different environment. And so I think that's probably a big part of the problem right there, you know, as to how, you know, the division and the separation, you know, occurred, because nobody wants to live in fear, which I can totally understand, especially if you have children, you know, and if he's doing something like that, then you're not only fear of someone, you know, trying to hurt him, but then you got to also be fearful of the cops, you know, so that it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you have to ask, how do we get in that situation to begin with?
The systems, you know, I'm gonna always go back to the systems that's set up for us to fail.
And a lot of us just fall for it.
And we just fall for it. We just fall for it.
I would have to agree. I would have to agree with that.
So we have to be able to teach each other. You know, those of us who know better, teach those that don't.
And with the attitudes and mentality of the teens today and the new generation today, and Sparkle, like you say, and do let us know how that goes. But the generation of today, I just don't feel like the kids that I had in my youth program about 15 years ago, they're no more. This new generation, you not my, and back then they used to say this, but this generation mean it. You not my mama, you not my daddy. And then when you look at it, they don't respect mama and don't respect daddy. That's why your big brothers and big sisters don't exist anymore, because they can't, the children don't respect them. The ones we had 15, maybe so years ago, they had that respect. No, sir. Yes, sir. You ain't got to call me that. And hell, I think I was in my 20s, early 30s. I'm like, you ain't got to call me no, yes, sir. I'm good. And that was the respect. It's not there anymore. They don't respect mom at home. What make you think they're gonna respect us going to them now? So that's why I got out of it. And I see a lot of guys from my hometown that's trying to get into, trying to do what I did because I was so successful at it, and it's failing. Hell, the kids don't even show up. The parents don't even drop them off. At least when I was in it, whenever we needed them at the gym for tutoring, the parents dropped them off. Now the parents ain't trying to drop them off. They, you know, it's like, but we gonna hold it down. We gonna do something for the youth. And then when don't nobody show up, and they didn't spend all that money on pizza, they done rented the gym, they done spent all the money on the little inflatable toys and things, and only 8 kids show up. And then they looking like, wow. It's just that the kids are not interested in that anymore. They have the video games. They have social media. They have
more stimulating things out there.
Yeah, than coming to a team summit. The only way they'll come to a team summit, I would have to get Bootsy or somebody to be there.
Yeah.
And get a speaker to talk to them, but they're not gonna have way listen to the speaker. They waiting to hear Bootsy perform. So it's like you got to come with a totally different
plan,
strategy, perspective, tactic to reach these youth today. Because the way I used to do it, popcorn, pizza, and a party, I used to throw dances for them. And the parents used to use me as leverage. If you got a CRD on your report card, you're not going to DJ Black's party. And them kids was making straight A. Them kids were on honorable mention just because they wanted to go to the DJ Black party. But now they like, well, hell, I can just go to YouTube at 12 o'clock at night. The DJ gonna be playing music, and I can hook that up to my Wi-Fi speaker and put my LED lights on and invite some friends over. They start doing throwbacks, kickbacks.
You know what?
They start doing
sounds like a new target market.
Yeah.
Say what now?
I said that sounds like a new target market.
Hey, man, look, And I ran that from, I'm gonna say 2001 up until about 7 years ago. No, about eight some years ago. And it's videos all over. And the kids on the still on social media today saying that they hate that this generation didn't get a chance to go to the parties I used to throw back then. When I tell you it wasn't nothing to get $750 to $1,200 and pack out the gym where the fire marshals coming by there trying to shut me down, that's how I used to do it. And the parents would drop the kids off at the dance. They'll go to the movie. That was quiet time for mom and dad. So they made sure that the kids had the grades good, and that I'm gonna be throwing my party for four hours, and they go off for their 4 hours. They come back and pick them up, and it was and they try to duplicate that today, and they can't because you don't have the same. And they wonder why it's not working. You don't have the same kids. They shooting out there now.
You can do the same thing online.
They shooting that. They shooting out there now. And the kids are afraid to go. The parents are afraid to let their kids go to those parties now.
Right.
Because you go into the innocent party, but they shooting out there. At the end of the party, they out there shooting. Now, when I was doing them, 1 or 2 may shoot in the air. But now they shooting each other. So that's the difference. And the kids, but the men back home and women back home that's trying to duplicate what I did 15, 20 years ago, it's not going to work because you're dealing with a totally different breed of children.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
We got to roll out.
Yeah, we out. The teams are not the same. And with that being said, we're about to get out. We'd like to thank Sparkle, the Austin, Dewey Rock chimed in. And like I say, next week I'm doing the hip hop thing. So if you know anything about hip hop, you can pop on here and tell who your favorite first rapper and how did you get into hip hop or whatever it was. But it's gonna be hip hop, and then after that we got 2 weeks of mental health, and that's gonna be with my girl Chanel. She's gonna host the next 2 after next week. And so we just got a lot of things going on. And then February we'll be back, the Austin, I, and Chanel. And we'll probably have some more guests on here as well. But with all that being said, it's Speak On It Podcast Season 2. And then once again, another shout out to Sparkle. She came in, she showed us some love. She voiced her opinion. She wasn't afraid to go against the grain. She spoke her mind. She even made us think and even turned us around a little bit on some of her views. So and that's very hard to do. But you accomplished that. Even Chanel. Yeah, she did her thing. Even Chanel was like, she got a point there. So you stood your ground. We respect that, and do not be a stranger. You have a platform right here. Anytime you got anything to think about, talk about, inbox one of us, and you want to bring it to the forefront. That's what we're here for. Then you come on and you voice your opinion, but do get back with us when you sit down and talk to your nieces. Talk to them kids, we want to, right. And even Chanel had offered, we need to bring that generation on one of the shows. Yes, she want to bring them on and just hear their views. Yeah, just to hear them out. Right. You know, because this generation ain't to shut up because mama said or daddy said. We have to talk to these kids now. That's right. Why do I have to shut up? Why do we give them ain't up because I said so? No. That this new generation, you got to raise them different. Talk to them different. So yeah, we're gonna look into that too. So you can be a part of hooking that conversation up when we go generations from we were to where they thinking now. So with all that being said, we about to dock the ship. And this is the Speak On It Podcast Season 2. I'm DJ Black, Chanel, Sparkle. We out. And what we always say, hey. Women do what you allow them to do. And vice versa with the women. A man gonna do what you allow him to do. And if you don't know your worth, you'll put up with that bullshit. But when you know your worth and you know you don't have to put up with it, you ain't gonna put up with it.
The girl was like, well, if I decide I want to wear a string bikini, to the beach and all that, I don't deserve to be harassed. And if you got a problem with that as my man, that's a problem. He was like, look, I'm not, like, you shouldn't be harassed. You're right. You shouldn't be harassed. However, they got creeps out there. Period. There are creeps out there. And so you have to be mindful. He's like, I'm not worried about my woman per se. She fine and she putting it out. Okay, cool. However, they gonna have somebody that's gonna disrespect that boundary. They gonna have somebody that's gonna do something to handle because they don't have the respect.
Right.
That's who I'm looking out for. That's who I'm afraid of you attracting, right? And stuff. And so that's real talk. Like, you're going to attract the creeps with that. A woman is tight because she's nervous. It's a muscle. So if I'm nervous and I'm not comfortable, then it's gonna be tight. That don't mean necessarily that it was just
preach my thunder, because when you're loose and like that, you want to know what we doing? We getting ready to orgasm. It's called bottoming out. We're letting that bottom drop so you can hit what we need you to hit, so we can get what we want. If you notice, every time before the orgasm, it goes loose. Pay attention. Before her orgasm, not your orgasm is tight because she's working for you. Her orgasm is loose every time. She don't squeeze during the orgasm. She squeezes after the orgasm because she's trying to stop. It's a reflex after. And I'm sorry, y'all not moving, shaking. I got my phone in my hand. That's how I keep my glasses on. That's how it works.
There are some decent women out there that may have kids that are able to hold it down for themselves and still be able to accept a man into their lives in a man role. So
see, the thing is, when you just say you be the woman that's holding it down by herself, this is the problem right here. In today, in the 21st century, a lot of women, they don't want to have no damn discipline. They don't want no man to come in and tell them what to do. They don't want to follow no rules. They want to sit there and say they want a strong man. As soon as that man show up and start trying to lay down structure and foundation, they flee. Oh, you trying to boss me around. You trying to tell me what to do. All this nonsense. You want me to be submissive. I ain't no slave.
No, Rick,
all this goofy shit.
You're narcissistic. That's the new word.
Yeah, that or toxic masculinity. All these other shaming tactics they got trying to do.
Hate women.